Hello, 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 and welcome to Tamia Talks Abundant Life. And I'm so excited. This is the second part of a 4 or 5 part segment because we have this amazing story to tell about the amazing pastor, Anuradha Das, who I had the blessing to be able to meet during our prophetic conference here in Las Vegas. We gave you the first part, so I'll lead you up to where we are now. We kind of left you with a cliffhanger. So she was here for the prophetic conference at the International Church of Las Vegas, and we were connected because I'm a filmmaker and she's looking to get her story told through documentary. So we had someone at our church that was so excited to get the two of us connected so that we could talk because they knew that I would really want to tell her story. So with that, I spent most of the conference not actually able to connect with her because I was filming another project at the time. Yet I got the insistence from our friend, our mutual friend, Kelly, saying, please, 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 please come so you can meet Pastor Anu because you have to hear her story, right? So I get there and her and I end up talking a little bit in the sanctuary. We go to lunch, and while we're at lunch, she gets some very interesting news. And we left it as a cliffhanger on the last thing. And what she was informed of was whenever you go on a trip abroad, a lot of us that travel to other countries, we make multiple stops while we're there. So Las Vegas was one of her stops. LA, Los Angeles was her next stop. And then she was due to go to Houston after spending some days in Los Angeles. Well, what ended up happening was her Los Angeles host fell through because her Los Angeles host is also a missionary. And so she was actually still in Africa and had not returned back to LA. So this is where we were at the end of our last segment, when she's sitting across the table from me and she's getting these notices that her host is no longer available. And basically she has no idea what's coming up next. So go ahead and share a little bit of your thoughts of where you were at right then at that time. And
I remember not being able to focus on my lunch, and we were a few people and we were talking about how can something may work out, and my host was telling me, it's okay, you can cancel the flight and you can stay back, I won't throw you out. And then my only option was I had to cancel the trip. And I knew in deep within my heart that God wanted me to go there. I didn't know the reason. I thought maybe I'm supposed to meet these big pastors. I have to tour the studio, and that's where perhaps I'm going. But it didn't happen, and I didn't know what to do next. And that's where you came in the picture.
So it really was a blessing because I was sitting across the table from her, and as she was responding to texts and sharing with us what was going on, because her demeanor, her whole demeanor changed, and it was kind of like, what's going on? What's going on? So she shared with me what was going on, and I just sat there and I started like quietly praying, like, Lord, I know there was this whole push that we connect, that her and I connect. So how is it that I can help her? I feel like I'm supposed to be a catalyst. I'm supposed to be, a connector, a helper in this situation. So as I was praying, the Lord brought to me an amazing blessing that had recently come into my life, because as a filmmaker, I have been connected with Christian media people, Christian, there's a Christian media fellowship actually, that it's by invitation only. You have to be a active, creative, making films and in the industry. And so I was invited to be a part of that. And I actually went to LA. I was in Beverly Hills attending it in October of last year. So here it is June, and I had totally forgot about this resource that the Lord basically has given me, So I reached out to my Las Vegas contacts as part of this media fellowship and asked them, did they know anyone in LA that could help out this missionary pastor who is literally going to be getting off the plane and stepping into trust? That someone is going to be there for her, So tell me how that evening went for you.
The evening? So,
Yes. So while you were waiting to go to actually go to LA.
and I remember that till 10 o'clock at night, nothing was done. And I was about to leave the auditorium. I'm like crying out to God that I just know deep within my heart that I'm not supposed to cancel. And suddenly your message comes while I'm in the auditorium that your stay is organized, your pickup is organized. And I'm like, oh my God, that's such a wonderful blessing. I became so happy that I even forgot to take the details from you. And I just landed in LA. When I reached there, I don't know where to go because I forgot to take the details from you. Like it's too much faith, you can say that. After I stepped out of the plane, I thought, oh my God, whom am I going to call? Then I immediately called you back and I said that my pickup hasn't arrived. So then we started to coordinate, and I think for an hour I waited there, and I had all kinds of thoughts like, what will happen to me? I don't know these people, and am I going to be safe? How it is going to be in another 4 5 days? Like, I was so fearful. I believe that it was such a step of faith because I was stepping into something that is unknown.
Yes, and you were trusting, and it's very interesting because I truly felt like I was an integral part of it because you're a guest in my country. You're a guest in my country, and I felt like the Lord was having me present the means for you, to be your angel steps along that way, so that when you stepped off the plane, you weren't stepping into just the abyss and 4 hour, what was it, 4 days in LA with nothing to do. I did not want you to be Tom Hanks at the airport, like when Tom Hanks, remember that show?
Yeah.
I said, I have to definitely provide for my pastor sister friend to make sure that she had a place. So here's
So,
what happened. Go ahead.
one of the brother came, and we kind of, because we didn't know each other, we never met before, so we kind of took at least 20 minutes to figure out each other, and then he came and picked me up, and that's where my journey started. The moment I stepped into his car, somewhere I started to feel that I'm here with a purpose. I still didn't know what is going to be, but I'm still here with a purpose. And I started to talk, and he shared his life story. Immediately, I'm there just for 5 7 minutes, and we were sharing life stories. Like he was sharing his life story, I was sharing my life story, how I landed here, and what has happened so far, and how God is faithful. We started to talk, and God asked me to stop and give him a nice breakfast.
Oh,
And
nice.
and then he was very hungry, and that's where it started. And I started to feel that the world needs so much of love, and I was not knowing so far that I'm going to stay with few homeless people who were
Okay,
previously.
so hold on before you get there, because I don't want you to jump too quick to that, because you also jumped over something really cool that I think you just mentioned. But so she showed up at the airport, and remember how you'd see somebody, they come to the airport and you have a sign for her, right? Well, this is just a prophetic sign because she didn't actually have a sign when the young man picked her up. But what was I laugh because she totally trusted that when she got off that plane, it was going to be arranged and there would be someone for her. And even when she got there and that person was not yet there, she knew, that the Lord was diligently working on her behalf and that she would have someone. And
But honestly, I was totally afraid. I was very much afraid. I was so afraid. I had all kinds of thoughts, honestly. I had all kinds of thoughts. I didn't know, where am I going? Who are these people? Are they going to be nice to me? And I hear so many stories about, like, that we see America in movies, right? So suddenly I was out of my comfort zone, and I had all movie scenes going on in my mind. So it was really fearful.
this is why I say that you actually trusted. because
Yes.
in you trusted. You still, like you said, I'm supposed to go to LA. You still got on the plane. You didn't cancel the trip. You know what I'm saying? So we, as Christians, we feel the fear, but do it anyways, you know, trusting that God is going to provide for us as we go along the way. So this is why I'm using the word trust with you, because you trusted that me, someone you just met, was going to be able to work this miracle.
Yeah. Yeah, just like I feel that, wow, that was wonderful. Like, I had to really lean on God to find me a solution. And you're right when you said that we can be fearful and still can trust God.
Yes. And so that's why I'm so encouraged by you. That's why I'm excited to share your story, because I did my best. I got you there. I got you connected to Pastor Clayton Gallagher, who actually does the Hope for the Homeless Youth Ministry, which you're going to be talking about here in just a minute. And he didn't know me from Adam either. You know, so all of these steps along the way was really a trust and a connection by God, because the way Pastor Clayton learned of me was through a local member of that media fellowship that I was talking about, the leader of our fellowship, Clegg Seth. And Clegg Seth and I had talked the very night that you were saying you were leaving, and I had sent out at least 15 texts to people going, this is the situation, this is what's going on. And I had heard nothing back. And as you mentioned, it was like 10 o'clock at night by the time. So I ran into Clegg at Trinity Life Center, which is my old church. It's actually the church I got saved at. And we happened to be there doing a homeless, actually, it's interesting. We were doing a runaway slash outreach to look for missing children. We were doing what's called the Big Search. And we do that. Actually, they do it monthly up until the coronavirus having happened. Anyway, so we're there, and I go out into the lobby, and there's Seth. You know, there's Clegg Seth standing there, and I was like, Clegg, listen, this is what's going on, because immediately I was like, tell him, right? So I tell him, and Clegg goes, I have the exact right person for you. He gave me he gave me Pastor Clayton's information. I wrote it down. Now, bear in mind, now we're getting to 9 o'clock at night, and these gentlemen are a little older, you know, they're not young people. So when we're getting to 9:30 at night, if I'm making a phone call or I'm texting people, I'm waking them up. But I knew that with Clegg opening that door, that I need to jump on that right away. So what I did was I text Pastor Clayton. He got back to me within 10 minutes. We actually had a very quick phone call that evening. And that is how I ended up being able to send her the text saying, we're going to have something for you in the morning. So Pastor Clayton, just from knowing Clegg and knowing that Clegg wouldn't connect him with somebody, because like I said, he didn't know me, but Clegg wouldn't connect him with somebody who would connect him with someone that, you know, was not of God, right? So he said to me on the phone, he said, tell me the details. I told him the details. He said, let me work it out. Call me at 7:30 in the morning and I will have more information for you. So I text Pastor Anu and I said, we got you, you know, because I knew however it was that he was going to do something, Pastor Clayton had now taken the ball, and that she would definitely be taken care of when she got to LA. So go ahead and tell us what was next.
So after I got into the car and I started to hear the stories, and my stay was kind of arranged a little bit. First, they put me in a motel, so it was okay. And they gave me the opportunity to speak in the evening Bible study. So I went and started to be part of the fellowship, and I started to speak. And I remember when I was given the opportunity and I spoke, it was so humbling, because I realized that God is showing me something in the US that I did not see before. So I was very humble as I was sharing my life story. It was amazing. And I was talking about the book that was released. So I was speaking from this book, and they were very amazed. And when I came back to the room that night, I really understood that God not only is asking me to trust Him more, that very moment, but He was actually making me really, really humble, because sometimes, even though you're in ministry and you want to function in certain way, and you kind of want to do things that are comfortable for you, and I'm a person, perhaps I wanted to do things from my comfort zone, and suddenly I was uncomfortable. I was totally uncomfortable with everything that was going on.
So
And
I love that. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna end on this segment on that, because when we come back, I want you to talk to us about your perception of the U.S., how it was changed by that trip, and how you stepped out of your comfort zone and actually was able to be a blessing and be blessed while you were there. But before we move on, I do want to ask you about that beautiful dress that you have on. Can you tell us a little bit about that dress? Is it a traditional dress?
yeah, it's kind of representing the north of India. So this is very popular with the Punjabi culture. So here people, they are very fashionable when it comes to weddings and ceremonies. They like uh, demonstrate a lot of things. So it is kind of lot of demonstration of the culture. And I love my country. It's very, very versatile. It's a lot of language and a lot of different people, a lot of different food. I think plenty of different culture here. Like, this is one of them. This dress is one of them.
Well, thank you so much for telling us about that dress, because it is beautiful. And I am definitely looking forward to coming to your country and experiencing that culture. And I, of course, love my country too. You see, I have my flag. But
I love America.
yes, yes.
I have learned a lot whenever I visited. So
Perfect. So next time we're going to talk about those lessons. I want to thank you, Pastor, for being here. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. And I tell you to stay tuned for the next segment, where we're going to find out a lot more about her experience in LA. We're going to do some special, actually, I'll do it right now, special shout outs to Clegg Seth, who helped along the way, to Pastor Clayton, who helped along the way, to Rodney, who helped along the way, and anyone else that I may be forgetting. Kelly, of course, Kelly War, who helped along the way. Just this story could not be told by one person about one person. The journey of life is traveled through people and with people. So that is the story we're going to continue to share when we come back in our next segment and we learn about Pastor Anu's LA experience. Any closing thoughts, Pastor?
I believe that no matter what is going on, no matter what we feel, one thing is very clear about a believer's life is we must trust God. When we trust Him, that's where we see God as the provider. And when Abraham started from home to sacrifice Isaac, the ram started from its place and they met there. But Abraham had no clue about the ram, and ram would never climb that far to a mountain, but it did, because Abraham had to discover 3 days later that God is very faithful. And unless we take a step of faith, we won't see Jehovah Jireh. We cannot see God as provider without taking a step. So this is what I have learned in my life.
Amen. And He is most definitely Jehovah Jireh. So stay tuned, folks. We're going to tell the rest of the story and you will be blessed. Have a great day. Bye.